I started in May 2024, immediately after coming back to Trivandrum after my post-graduation. I joined academy here in Thiruvananthapuram, and my entire preparation was there. So first of all, I was very determined that I just want to write this exam only once in my life, because as we all know, it's a very tough process and it will make you question your life at many points. So I heard these stories from the people who have wrote this exam before me, and I wrote it on my wall that I'll write this exam only once. And I gathered the confidence to write Sreeja JS IFS also back then. And as I started preparation, I had a lot of confusion as to how to study, how to make notes, how to attend classes, and all these things are quite natural. But with the help of my mentors and teachers, I was able to start with full dedication and commitment early on. And they took extra care to address even my silliest of doubts. And I just kept my preparation very simple. My strategy was attend the classes and just follow what my mentors, teachers said, and adhere to the daily target that the academy provided me. Our classes started in May 2024, and till October, I didn't have any particular plan. I would just watch the classes online, take notes, read newspaper daily, and just follow current affairs and read whatever I can. And but after the prelims test series started, I strictly followed the daily planner, and I was very adamant that I would finish the daily targets every single day. And if I'm not able to do it, I would just cover them during Friday and Saturday. But I ensure that before I go for test on Sunday, I have to finish all the basic content that I had. And this helped me bring consistency into my preparation. And I think at the end of the day, that matters a lot, because you have to do the boring task of studying, attending maximum MCQs, and writing answers daily. Then only you can get a good result. That is a fact. And these tasks are boring, but you have to do it. And the writing on the wall helped me ensure that I was doing it. That was how my preparation went. And prelims happened, I was able to clear it. And then the big mistake that I did was I wasn't preparing for mains while I was studying for prelims. That took a toll on my health and everything else during that break. But then I was able to get into the game and able to clear mains and then the interview process. So altogether, it was just a 1 year of preparation from May 2024 to May 2025, and I gave my first attempt. So that's the gist of my preparation journey. Yes, one of the mistakes was following every other source in the market. I consciously avoided that. I just followed the materials that my academy provided. I just relied on that. And I am a person who loves reading generally. But when it came to preparation, I just limited my sources, because I knew that every resource has the similar content. And what's the point of going behind all of them when you can just get all of them in one resource? So that was one big mistake that I avoided, and it really helped me a lot. It kind of eased my tension, and was able to just keep my preparation very simple throughout my preparation. I'm a very flexible person, because I can't just come up with a schedule and just follow it completely. I have tried it and I have terribly failed. So my day would look like this. We have 6 hours of classes daily during weekdays, 4 hours of GS classes plus 2 hours of optional. And after that, almost 40 minutes of newspaper reading. And then sometimes daily targets would go for 6 hours. Sometimes it's just 1 hour. And so it varied accordingly. And everything depends upon my mood on what to study, how to study, all those things. But I just ensured that I was following the daily planner and completing the daily targets. That was my goal. And sometimes overall it would go for 10 hours, less than 5 hours. So it depended. It depends on my mood and everything else. So in my opinion, we can't just pinpoint on this many hours to finish hours studies in a day. You have to find your own strength and just work accordingly. So flexibility was my strength, and even though I get distracted in between, I was able to come back. So that's how my one day would look like. The most interesting would obviously be international relations because it's my favorite subject. The difficult would be, I think, CSAT Max. I am not that good in Max, so obviously it was very tough for me in the beginning, but I was able to come up with a good strategy that helped me in the exam. And if I can add one more, economy was a bit tough in the beginning, but over time I was able to understand the basic concepts and just work accordingly. 23 services out there, according to the latest uh, set of services that we saw. And Indian Administrative Service, if you take it, you can become collector, secretaries to the various departments, and it has the uh, it is the backbone of our Indian political system. So you engage with the ordinary people and help them in whatever way they can. So it's basically uh, on the ground service, according to me. And Indian police service, you become you become very important officers, higher post in the police overall, and in the revenue service, income tax, customs, and a lot of other services. So what Indian foreign service offers is that you become diplomats and you become representatives of India in various international organizations and various countries abroad. You have the chance to be part of the team that makes India's foreign policy. And it is a very prestigious service, and you get a lot of opportunity to travel around the world, meet new people, learn new languages, enjoy different cultures. So it opens up the world to you, and you can just become part of the elite service in India. And each and every service in the civil services has its own importance and various roles in the Indian political system. Everything is equally important. So if you want to go for IFS, many people would tell you it's not the best choice out there, but I think it is one of the best options you must explore before taking the decision. So from an exam point of view, you must know the background, but that's not the entire focus. For example, when it comes to UPSC prelims, when an important international issue is happening, you must know the place. You must know who are around that place, and you must know the important players. The perspectives would come in when you are preparing for interview or mains. So you have to understand the demand of the exam you are preparing for, and you have to work accordingly. You must read the newspaper regularly because it will help you gain knowledge, also improve your language. So that's not negotiable. But at the end of the day, you must read current affairs and take notes according to the demand of the exam. And taking notes is also a bit challenging because I am a person who started taking notes while I was a person who took notes in the initial stages of my preparation, and then I realized that I'm not going back to these bulky notes and revising it. So I stopped taking notes altogether. So you must keep that in your mind also. If you're taking notes, you must go and revise it. Otherwise, there is no point in taking notes. At the end of the day, you must keep the demand of the exam in your mind. And even if you are looking into the current ongoing war, you must know who all are the important actors, what are the important places there, and understand the core issues, not just what's happening in the current the attacks. Not just that, you need to understand the core issues. That was how I prepared back in while I was preparing for this exam. The thing is, if you are preparing for UPSC, you have to have a grasp of the basic content by March. And after that, studying new content is sometimes counterproductive. You have to exercise discretion in studying new content. And I also had this issue. So I thought I would just revise the basic content that I had, and extra whatever I have to learn, I would just focus on answer keys of the test series that I had attended. So through that I was able to limit my resources, and I was able to understand and revise more through attempting more questions also. I think that goes for the preparation for all the competitive exams out there. Once you reach a point where once you reach that point where it's just few days away from the exam, studying new content is, it's not that good, and it will add on to your stress. So just trust your preparation, trust the process, and just focus on revising what you have. And it is a tough thing to do when we have that FOMO and Bindu Panika syndrome, but you have to exercise the discretion. I followed a very simple thing, that I followed whatever my academy said. I just followed what my mentor said. So that kept my preparation very simple. I think if you have a mentor, or if you are part of any academy, just trust it, because you have paid the fees and your teachers are doing exceptional jobs. So just trust them, and that will make the preparation very simple, and you can just follow the schedule almost to perfect, and that will help you a lot. But if you are a person who is doing self preparation, uh, first 3 months you have to understand the syllabus first, read it multiple times, understand the core demands of this examination, and and use PYQs as a guide, so that you don't go and study all this stuff out there. Just keep the syllabus and PYQs as your guide, and just find out the most relevant themes and just start with that. That is how you should do it, is what I think. UPSC likes Harappa. There might be some questions, and last year also there was a question. And modern India is assuming importance now. A lot of questions can be expected in the near future from Gandhian time. And in geography also, the NCRT portions of climatology is very relevant, and repeatedly questions are being asked. There are several themes that you can find while you analyze PYQs. The point is, when you are working on PYQs, the focus should not be on answering those questions, but to find themes, firstly. Secondly, to understand UPSC's language. It has a peculiar language that I don't think any academy was able to copy it. So find out tricks hidden in each and every questions and just work on it. So these two things are very important in my opinion. Basically, I had a lot of hobbies. Firstly, I used to read whatever I get, and I have a small library here. So I used to read whenever I get time. Second, I used to watch a lot of movies and series. I think during prelims intense stage in April also I was watching a Netflix series. So I think it's very important to have hobbies, because that is one thing that keeps your individuality alive. So that is very important for me. And also I have a small cat here. I used to play with her a lot even while studying. So have your hobbies, and when you go for interview, the hobbies matter a lot. It is a part of your personality, so maintain that. I don't think you should lose your hobbies and your personality just because you are preparing for this exam. So I think that should be non-negotiable. Last 50 days, my strategy was revision plus PYQs. I took a spiral bind of PYQs from 2017 to 2018, and I used to go through it every single day, at least 15 to 20 questions per day, and find out the logic and decode the UPSC language. All those things I used to do. And apart from that, revision, I was a very flexible person. So if one morning I want to study history, I would just focus on history. I would just take the basic content I have, and then I just revise. I just go through the pages, and if I am having any doubt, I would just clear it then and there. So these two things I did it consistently. So I think for the last few days, your primary focus should be on PYQs and then revision. Don't add new content. Just focus on what the content you have already prepared. And if you have been following any test series, just randomly go through the answer case just to remind yourself of the content. it will help you. And active recalling was also one of the things that I did. Whenever I used to whenever I used to have free time, I used to think like these all things I have studied, and if I'm having doubt, I would just go back and just try to find out. So these things work for me. So basically, my PT was very cordial, very conversational. It was like a casual dinner conversation. So when I entered the UPSC, I had this in mind that I'm just going for a conversation with some of my senior colleagues. So I was going in that attitude, and the first question was, you studied in Thiruvananthapuram till schooling, and then you went to Chennai. Why did you go for Chennai? Kerala itself has a lot of good colleges. So from then on, it was back-to-back questions. It was very conversational. They were asking questions from what I was answering, and there were a lot of good questions. I think one would be out of nowhere. One member asked me about American elections. I didn't know the answer properly. I somehow came up with an electoral college thing, and then I said, "I'm sorry, sir, I don't know the exact details. I was following this back in January 2024, and after that, I didn't January 2025." And I don't know the exact details. So I was saying 3 4 I don't knows. I was not feeling any shame or anything. I just said I don't know. And then one question is that since I put IFS, one member asked me, imagine yourself as a diplomat representing India in the UN, and consider all of us 5 members as the P5, permanent 5. So argue for India's case. India wants a seat in the P5. And I didn't know what to start with, so I just started with, dear delegates, India is the largest democracy in the world. So if we are not having a seat in the UN, what democracy are we talking about? These are things we study during mains. So I just repeated it like a speech, small speech. And I think it changed the entire interview. Somehow I was able to appeal them, and then you have to be very open-minded in the PT. If you are getting the chance to joke and the board is very cordial, just go for it, and people will laugh, and you can make a lasting impression. So my interview is such a wonderful experience, such a good memory that I'll cherish forever. I would probably cry for 2 weeks, and then I would realize that there is no other option just to go for the next attempt. And I would tear up the exact sticky note, and I would just write, second attempt I am taking Indian Foreign Service, and I would just start preparation. But I would definitely cry for 2 weeks. That's always there. I used to cry a lot during that transition between prelims and mains, because nothing is going my way, and there were times I thought of giving up. But the poster on my wall written Sreeja JS IFS, I would just daydream and think of what will happen after result, and I don't know, that kept me moving. Even if I get distracted, I would get lost. That just kept me moving. And most importantly, I had such wonderful ecosystem created by my parents, friends, and mentors. Whenever I'm feeling low, I can just call up either my parents or mentors or my friends, and would just talk for hours and hours with no end, especially with my very close friends and my parents. So, I mean, you have to seek help whenever it's required, and you don't have to be shy about it. Just seek help when required. And prayer also helped me a lot to calm my mind. And then I have a small cat, so uh, she would she would be nearby whenever I'm feeling low or something, and I just go and play with her, and I would get distracted, and at the end of the day I would come back some way or another. I would be back. And I used to celebrate small victories. If I'm having a good score in a test, I would just order something from Swiggy or Zomato and just enjoy it. And good feedback from my mentors, I would just enjoy it. So I think you have to focus on small goals, fulfilling them, and just celebrating it. Then I think you can survive this emotional roller coaster of a journey.